The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, McLane Black Lake, Washington, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32378. Please utilize this 5-digit number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting at the front bumper, face of the front bumper, you'll find passenger side, driver side dual air horns. You'll also find on the passenger side your electronic siren and PA speaker. Just inward of that location on the frame rail, you'll find 2 closed tow hooks. And then just in the center of those tow hooks, you'll find your E95 apparatus number. Up onto the top of the bumper, you'll find an 1.5-inch swivel discharge behind the closed compartment. On the side of the bumper extension, you're going to find emergency warning light. You'll also find in that same vicinity on the passenger side your bell. Moving all the way to the driver's side bumper area, you'll find your mechanical siren. Let's move now up onto the body. On the right and left side, you'll find a turn marker light. Just inward of that location, you'll find your headlights, low beam and high beam. The high beam is on the inside, low beam is on the outside. Moving up from that, you'll find turn indicator and emergency warning lights. And then moving all the way up to the very top, you're going to find on the windshield 3 windshield wipers across that seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the very top of the brow, you'll find this forward-facing floodlight. It also acts as your running lights. At the very top of that, you're going to find emergency warning light bar. Directly in the center of that emergency warning light bar is where you'll find your opticom. And then as we move just slightly down from that location on right and left sides, you're going to find your driver's mirror. Top portion flat, bottom portion is convexed. You do have pull-handled keyed door locks. You also have grab handles for ease of operation for firefighters getting in and out of the cab. There's also a mid-cab emergency side warning light. And then as we move all the way up to the very top of the apparatus, you'll find your side cab scene light. And then just behind that, at the rear section of the cab, you'll find a visual identifier of your tank level indicator. Let's take a couple close-ups here. 1, headlights, turn indicator, and emergency warning lights. We're going to now take a look at the other side. This is your 1.5-inch swivel discharge. Let's go ahead and move now just past the driver's door. You'll find the programmable electronic entry. Moving up from that location, you'll find your shoreline inlet. This is a 20-amp auto eject plug. Just past that, slightly to the right, you'll find the auto eject for your air system. And then you'll also find an emergency warning light in the same vicinity. This is just over the front wheel. Let's move up to the very top section where you'll find a side-facing floodlight. And then as we move to the back section of the cab, you'll find your water level tank indicator and then also a adjustable pull light side scene. We're now at the section where the pump housing is. First, let's talk about some warning labels. Pressurized hazard for pressurized caps while removing those caps while under pressure. And then obviously fall, do not ride on the side of the apparatus. Your vehicle is equipped with 2 2.5-inch discharges on this side, number 1 and number 3. In the center, you'll find the large diameter pump intake, the Pierce American Flag Eagle logo. And then all the way to the right, you'll find a twist. This is not a pull. It is your air supply. Just underneath that, you'll find the air outlet, which is the chuck for allowing you to plug into it. Let's move further down. You'll find the 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. And then you'll find just beneath that all your associated drains for all of the options on this side. Let's go ahead and move up to the side here. A couple close-ups here. Once again, air supply and air outlet. That's a twist, not a pull. Quick side shot here of the left 2.5-inch discharges. And then we'll move down to the driver's side auxiliary inlet. Between the cab and the body, just above the location we were just talking about, is where you'll find your 2 speed lay locations. First, let's talk about on the left. This is a warning label regarding entanglement hazard because of those lines coming up above the pump area. There's also the number 2 cross lay and the number 1 cross lay, in addition with the 2.5-inch cross lay. There is a small latch here also. This allows you to
release the hose load from above so that you can pull out that speed load and load it on the ground level. Just a quick shot here of your pump panel. We'll go over those items next. We're starting now in the upper left-hand corner. This is going to be your wet tank pressure. There is a gauge just below that indicating the air pressure. As we move to the very top, you'll find if properly engaged, the pump, this light will illuminate just beneath that. Let's start now with the gray area. This is your master intake. Moving to the right, you'll find your master discharge. In between those two gauges are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They currently are plugged, and in the testing mode, you'll utilize these two ports. In the upper right-hand side, you're going to find your PCM fault is an amber indicator. Just beneath the PCM fault, you're going to find a speaker. This is a audible alarm. It does have an outer bezel so that you can adjust the volume control. Just beneath that, you'll find the pump overheat indicator, and it is an amber indicator also. As we move across the discharges, first we'll start with the front discharge, number 1, number 2, the 2.5 inch, and the driver's side rear discharge. As we move further to the right, you'll find the primer for your fire pump. This is a push to prime, and there is a small instructions here just beneath that you should utilize at least 1,000 RPMs when utilizing this primer. Let's move to the right. This is your pierced throttle governor. In the upper right-hand corner, you're going to find the check engine. If illuminated, it will be amber in color. In between, you'll find a digital readout for the RPMs. And then further to the right, you'll find, if illuminated, red, a stop engine indicator. Just beneath that, you'll find all of your diagnostic information for your engine. In the blue section, you'll find the water tank level indicator. Those will coincide with the side of the apparatus in the upper corner of the cab. You also have a silence button, and then just beneath that you'll have in orange, this is your menu button to allow you to scroll through the various programs. Let's move down a little further. There are two options here. You have either pressure control, which will indicate here, or in the other side, RPM control or throttle control. In between, you'll find a digital readout. The blue indicator at the very bottom section on the left is going to be your indicator for moving between the different functions, whether you're in pressure mode or you're in throttle mode. That's what this blue mode is for. To the right, you'll find a throttle ready indicator, and then you also have the ability to program presets. You'll need to seek your owner's manual for more information. At the very bottom, you'll find the red idle push in, or also the twist for increasing or decreasing the throttle. Let's go ahead and move down to the next section. We'll start on the left-hand side. This is going to be your tank fill. Just adjacent to that, you'll find your tank to pump. And then further to the right, you'll find this minimum operation maintenance schedule, which we'll go over here in just a few moments. Let's move up to the very top here. This is going to be a twist also. This is your recirculating line. It's not a pull. And then to the right, you'll find your deluge discharge. Beneath that deluge discharge gauge, there is a wheel valve which has the indicator for open and closed. Down at the very bottom, there are two electronic valves here. The number 2 passenger side control, and then also the large diameter passenger discharge. The very bottom, only trained personnel should utilize this equipment. That's what that sticker is for. See your owner's manual. This is the Pierce maintenance schedule for GPMs are on the left. PSI for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. Those are your test pressures, and the RPMs on the right. You do have a governed speed just below at 1970. Let's move to the side panel here where you'll find your air horn, driver's side floodlight, and passenger side floodlight. Back down to the very bottom section, you'll find the primer drain and then all the associated drains beneath that. As we move to the pan doors where you'll find your manual pump shift override, there is an amber indicator on the protected switch. We're now in the same compartment area of the roll-up door. You have additional storage here. It looks like hose storage, and just above that we'll find two breaker boxes. We'll talk about those individually. They are labeled and also clearly identified. To the very far right is your battery charger. It's plugged into shore power. Just beneath that, because you do have an onboard generator, you do have also a gauge for that generator. And on the right, when plugged into shore power, once again, this will activate that battery charger. This is the G1, which stands for generator. You'll find the main and also the cord reel on this. This is the S1, which stands for shore power, and you'll find 1 through 6 breakers for this. The yellow placard is for your continuous power supply, your generator. It's a Harrison 3.6K. Let's move now just in front of the rear wheels. You'll find 2 bottle storage locations and also an additional oxygen bottle. To the rear, bottle storage location, ultra low sulfur diesel is the silver cap. And when you flip that latch down, you'll expose the blue cap, which is your DEF, which is a 4.5 US gallon tank. As we move further back, this is going to be over the rear wheel. You'll find SCBA storage locations. And to the very rear of your apparatus, you'll find adjustable shelves and LED lighting, once again in all compartments. This is your wheel chock storage locations just to the rear of the rear wheel. Quick view of the overall apparatus. Let's start now on the very back of the apparatus. Let's first start with your brake, turn, reverse indicator, and also an emergency light cluster. As we move up on the left-hand side, you'll find, this is going to be the driver's side, you'll have a ladder to gain access aloft. You also have some warning here regarding pressurized caps, not riding on the back of the apparatus, and also fall. And at the very top, you'll find that 2.5-inch rear discharge. Just inside of that location, you'll find your traffic advisor across the very back of the apparatus. Let's go ahead and move to the right-hand side. Just above the tail lights, you're going to find a cupped switch. This is a switch for your rear scene lights. Moving up from that, you've got a work light, both right and left side. Further up, you'll find the rear scene lights, and then just above that, you'll find the 2 emergency warning lights. As we move up to the top, you're going to find the backup camera located up on the very top of the passenger side. And then we're going to define 4 pan-style doors here, and we'll talk about those shortly. These are the 4 on the passenger side, predominantly where tools and ladders are located. Let's take a quick look here at some of the items. Rear scene lights is that cupped switch here. And then as we move to the rear section of the apparatus, right side, this is going to be your 24-foot and 14-foot roof ladder. Moving to the next compartment up is where you're going to find your 10-foot folding ladder, additional locations for long tool storage. And then as we move further up, you'll also find backboard storage location here for up to 2 backboards. Moving to the right, you're going to find your rigid hose for drafting, and then also, once again, long tool storage. Just a quick look here at the rear section of your apparatus. You can see there are 2 speed load locations here. General view here, the rear section. As we move across, this is the 2.5-inch rear discharge. As we move to the very bottom, this is that door in the open position at the rear. This is going to be the release mechanism for that shelf. Let's go atop the apparatus. We have closed compartments. There are latches here to gain access into those closed compartments. And I would like to point out there is this diamond reflective here. This is for firefighters' safety so that firefighters will know the edge of the workspace. Let's move to the dunnage areas where you'll find your hydraulic generator. This is the reservoir that we're currently looking at here. You also have a fill location and a sight gauge on the far right-hand side. Also in this location, you're going to find your master stream device up on the very top. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those compartments. These are going to be on the right and left side, passenger and driver side. This is up on the very top. You can also see this is the cord reel location and additional storage. Each of these compartments do have LED lighting. This is going to be the downward electrical reel, which allows it to go into the compartment below. At the very top, you're going to find a surface that they're recommending that you not walk on, where the diamond plate is located. In the center in the dunnage area, this is your main tank fill from the top location. And this is a quick picture of the side of the apparatus. We'll get into some of the details here. Most of the compartments are set up the same, and we'll highlight any that are not. First, this compartment does have a pull-out shelf. The release mechanism is on the right. There is also a shoreline outlet. When plugged into shore power, this outlet is active. This is a location for 3 bottle storage for SCBA storage. Moving just forward to that position, you'll also find 3 additional SCBA. There are retaining straps on these. Let's move now to the next compartment. Over the rear wheel, you'll find this D-handled tool board. When this is in the open position, there is a release or lock mechanism on the hinge side. At the very top in the next forward compartment, you're going to find the breaker for that reel rewind, and then you're also going to find an additional shore power outlet in this compartment. As we move further down, you're going to find the rewind. This is for the electrical cord. And then all the way down at the very bottom, you'll find an additional pull-out shelf that gains access by the hinge side of the right of the drawer. Just a couple of quick close-ups of what we just talked about. This is the cord reel rewind breaker in the upper left-hand corner. You can also see shore power and then also the breaker box. You can also see that yellow cord going upward. That's to the compartment above. This is your cord reel rewind. This is a 200-foot, 20-amp cord. And then you also have, once again, a hose storage location. Just underneath that, you'll find the release mechanism for the releasing that shelf to pull in and out. We're midship now. This is going to be some caution labels on the cab lift, and there are also some danger. Please pay attention to both of those. There are instructions for lift and lower on the right-hand side and a protected switch for raise and lower and then activate. You'll also find some warning labels here regarding not riding on the side of the apparatus, and then you'll also find that pressurized cap warning. That's for caps that are under pressure while removing them. In the very center behind the Pierce American Flag Eagle, this is your large diameter pump intake. Just beneath that, you'll find the 2.5-inch passenger side auxiliary inlet. Once again, that's a 2.5. And then to the right, you have a 2.5-inch discharge. This is an electric valve. Because of that, you're required to have an override in case there is some sort of mechanical failure. Also, just beneath that, you'll find the large diameter discharge. This is in green. Same thing, electric valve. You'll also find the electric valve override. Just beneath that, you're going to find all the associated drains, color-coded and also labeled. Let's move directly above this location. This is where you're going to find those cross lays, and because of that, you're going to find this warning label regarding an entanglement hazard. You'll also find the 2.5-inch cross lay, the number 2 cross lay, and also the number 1. You're also going to find that latch which will allow you to release the speed load so that you can pull it out and remove it to the ground. Let's take a look at the cab of the apparatus. Let's first start with the door latches. These are keyed door latches. They're a simple pull. And then at every point of entry for personnel, you're going to find these grab handles to make it easy for firefighters getting in and out of the cab. You also have on this side, the passenger side, electronic keyless entry. And then you also have directly over the the front tire is a side-facing emergency warning light. As we look to the very top, you're going to find your water tank indicator, and then moving slightly to the right of that location, you're going to find the side cab floodlight. We're now at the rear section, just going inside the rear cab. At all points of entry, you're going to find warning labels here. Please see the owner's manual regarding those labels. Just a quick view inside the cab, 2 seats close to each other inside with cabinets on the right and left side. Overhead, you have your air conditioning and additional storage locations, push on and off white and red lights, and also your hangers for your intercom system. As we look overhead, you'll find the wireless SETCOM system, and then you're also going to find back at the back section 12-volt access. There are barrel style, and then on the far left there is also USB. This is going to be a caution label here. It really pertains, in this image you can't see, but above is for your map books and making sure that things are secured. Down below, you're going to find the location for all of your oil and transmission checks. These are for your daily checks. There is a light also in that compartment. Here's a better image of that regarding NFPA caution and making sure that things are secured while in the cab. You do have some latex glove holders on the right side, and then overhead you'll find additional storage locations on the passenger and driver side. As we move through some of the other identifying items here, once again, this is the SETCOM system for your wireless headsets. And now we'll go to the passenger seat. Once again, point of entry, so we've got these warning labels here to familiarize yourself. This is also the location for the windshield wiper fill. And then you'll find your bell rope. That's for activation of your bell on the front bumper. Let's go ahead and move now up to the dash area. This is going to be on the passenger side. You're going to find a spotlight located here. It is plugged into a 12-volt access. Those are barrel style at the very top portion, and the very bottom you'll find USB. Let's move to the left-hand side. There's a set of 4 push buttons. We'll cover those. I have a close-up of that to make it a little bit easier. But I would like to point out on the very far right, there is this warning. It's a candy cane label. You'll find these throughout the area. These are just indicating that their wire locations terminate behind this panel. The very top, siren brake, electronic siren, air horn, and mechanical siren. Those are the push buttons for those respective items. You'll also find the cab information here. If this light is flashing, it is do not move your apparatus. You have a compartment door open. You're also going to find your heavy-duty AM/FM weather band radio CD player. You'll also find your front, driver's side, passenger side, and rear scene lights. Let's now move to the driver's area. Once again, point of entry, we're going to find those warning labels. We're also going to find some information here regarding your seat belts. The belts are red in color by design for ease of identifying if people have them on. Just down at the base, you're going to find your placard here. This is manufactured by Pierce Manufacturing for your department. It has the date of manufacture. It also has the job number, including gross vehicle weight ratings, VIN number, tire inflation, and also all of your fluid capacities, components, and types of fluid. Let's now move to the side where you'd enter the cab. You're going to find your engine heater switch to the right with an indicator that's on, and then also your auto charge for your battery system. General view here of the foot pedal area, brake on the left treadle, and right is your accelerator. On the left knee of the operator, you'll find the on-off switch. This is your battery switch. And to the right behind the green is your engine, transmission, and ABS 1939 diagnostic port. Just beneath that, you'll find ABS, DPF regen, and then all the other associated information regarding regen switches. Let's move to the left-hand side. This is just above the power switch. You're going to find your stationary OK to pump while rolling. That's an indicator. You do have a water pump switch, your generator PTO, and then also your generator PTO engaged indicator. On the right side, you're going to find your pump pressure and also a water tank level indicator. And then just slightly on the dash or above by the steering column, you'll find the flat mirror and convex mirror controls. We'll start on the left-hand side of the column. This is your start and ignition switch. Just to the right, you'll find the EM switch, which stands for Emergency Master, controls your emergency lights, headlight control, and also panel dim or bright switch. Let's move now to the panel. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner. First, you have your transmission oil and DEF level, and also water temperature. In the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. To the right, you'll find voltage, fuel, front and rear air, and then diagnostic information that will help you above and below the speedometer. Let's move just to the right of this location. We'll start at the very top. This is the monitor regarding your camera system. And then we look just beneath that, you'll find a set of switches. I've got some close-ups of those and we'll go over those in just a moment. On the side of the dash is where you'll find your windshield control. It's also a push for windshield wiper fluid. Here are the switches. First, the siren horn or the air horn, electric siren, mechanical siren, and then red, a siren brake. Let's move down from that location where you'll find your engine brake. It's an on-off switch, and then you have a setting switch for low, medium, and high. This vehicle is equipped with a front wheel lock, and then you also have a future switch, load manager, and mirror heat. Let's move just down from this location. We'll identify some additional items. This is going to be your heat and defrost in the gray area, heat in red, and AC in blue. Moving down to the left, you'll find your system parking brake, pull to apply, push to release. To the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad, and then we also have an indication to pump in neutral. And there is also a warning here that you should always engage the parking brake and front wheel lock. Let's move to the right. This is on the right-hand side of the operator. This is your main unit radio. Overhead will identify all of those items, but first let's start on the far left-hand side over the driver's head. You're going to find the height 10 feet 10 inches, length 31 feet 9.5 inches, gross vehicle weight rating at 45,000 pounds, and then your apparatus number, which is 32378-02. That's in reference to your second apparatus in this job number. Overhead, you're going to find your emergency master, roof light, front warning light, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Each of these switches will illuminate if they've been properly engaged. Let's move slightly to the right of this set of switches. We have another set of switches where we have the high beam flash, the front scene light, and then you have two switches here for driver's side and passenger side scene. You also have a rear scene light and then also perimeter lights. Once again, once they're engaged, they will illuminate that color above green. This is your seatbelt information center. It's currently not displaying anything because I believe the batteries are not on. But once it's on, you'll find if someone is in the seat and occupying it without a belt, they're red. If they're occupying it with the belt, it'll be green. Just to the right of that, you're going to find your air temp, currently 67 here at Pierce. And as we look to the rear, we're going to find 2 sets of seats here with SCBAs. Congratulations, McLane Black Lake, Washington, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32378. If you have any questions as to the content of this video, please contact your Hughes Fire Sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.